There we go. Live and well, streaming, broadcasting from the China, Beijing. Hi, I'm Steve. This is my language channel, and we are streaming live from the capital of the mainland of China. And yeah, it's National Day today, so it's October 1st at about 12:27 p.m. And I figured typically I do these Chinese live streams on Mondays, but we didn't finish work. I didn't finish work until late last yesterday evening, and so it's kind of like, all right, well, you know what? I'll just push off the stream until tomorrow because Tuesday, because that way I can talk about some of the things that are happening for National Day. Now, sadly, nothing happens very much this year. Marks a special occasion for the 75th anniversary of the founding of New China. So October 1st, 1949 is when Mao first stood up on the stairs of Tiananmen, of Forbidden City, Gugong, and proclaimed the founding and the start of New China, which is what you know as China today, geographically as China today. I was wondering if there was going to be any major sort of event at Tiananmen Square, but it doesn't look like there was. I asked around, and it seemed that there weren't going to be any jets flying over top of the city at all. And no special parade. They did have a parade for the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party of China for the CCP. That was 2021 or 2022? 2021. It was a few years ago already. And they had jets flying across the sky at that point or that year. But this year, nothing. It's been very quiet. It's nice. I'm not going to lie. It is getting nice. It is nice to have some silence, and especially now the compound is very quiet as well. But I mean, it's midday. People are either eating or napping at this point. But first, by way of introduction, so my name is Stephen, and this here is my language channel. These live streams I do a few times a week. I typically do one for Chinese, one for Russian, and then one for English as well. And in each live stream, I discuss certain topics. So for Chinese, I will study Chinese online. Like you can watch me go through my flashcards or write Chinese characters and things like that. For Russian, I will do declensions and conjugations and read and watch TV. Last week, we watched a bunch of YouTube videos in Russian. And then for the English broadcasts, they can either be about the English language or about teaching English as a job, like being an expat and living overseas, working in the ESL industry, which is what I do here in China. Now, I do have, this channel is not the only outlet that I have. There are a few others, and I'll post these in the chat for you to take a look. First and foremost, there is a smart link that you can go to, and it lists quite a few different locations that you can find everything that I publish. In addition to YouTube, I do run a TikTok channel as well, the Language Talker, but it's mostly memes about language learning, which I think are funny. Some people might think that they're kind of boring, to tell you the truth. I also have a newsletter that I send out once a week, and that basically wraps up a lot of what we publish on the channel each and every week. It's meant to be, there's two things I try to do with the newsletter, which also actually and I have not prepared that one. Where is my other link? Because I want to put that up too. Where do we go? Libsyn. How do you do this? Stevens. There we go. So, and the reason I want to pause for that is because with the newsletter and the weekly newsletter, I have also started a weekly podcast that talks about what happens in the newsletter. So the YouTube channel is basically my main focus. The YouTube channel is where I publish all of my long form videos. I do these live streams. I publish YouTube shorts as well that give a glimpse of life here in China, or other little questions I have about language learning, etc. The newsletter wraps all of that up in a written format so you can see it. So you don't have to come to YouTube to watch it. but then the podcast talks about what happens in the newsletter, and that is meant as both an educational resource for people who are studying English. I try to speak at a reasonable pace and also use enough natural language. I speak as I mostly do, minus a few words, but in an effort to create an enjoyable listening atmosphere, and further so it helps people who want to learn English. But then also, I think it also serves as a reminder, an encouragement, a motivation for people who want to learn languages, and that way they don't have to just be on YouTube. They can listen as they go, because I know YouTube, in order to listen when you close the browser, you need to have a pro account or YouTube whatever, like YouTube Plus, and I think that's kind of annoying. I'm not sure how many people have that subscription, so I figured, you know what, I could create a podcast. I mean, I don't mind doing it. It's a bit of a reminder for me, and um, something I can do. Let's put it that way. So you can find that, but you'd have to go to Libsyn to find this. It's Stephen's Language Vlog podcast.libsyn.com. And if you have any better ideas for a name for the podcast, that'd be great as well. And that way we can maybe change it. I'm not married to any of these names I mean, I'm using them for the time being, but I'm not married to them. There might be a name change, a brand change at some point, but you can certainly take a listen to that podcast. And finally, if you like and enjoy what you are seeing and hearing on or reading in the newsletter, YouTube, and the podcast, you can head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Stephen's Language Vlog, which is where I offer, well, you can donate. You can buy me a coffee. Right? It's like the idea being, I will be publishing and promoting and putting other products and services on that site going forward, but I figured Buy Me a Coffee was a good platform for donations, because it's along the same lines as if you were to meet an expat or meet someone else who's speaking or has learned another language, and you want to sort of pick their brain for a little bit, that you could do that over a coffee or a beer. I mean, they allow you to change it, but I've since cut back drinking quite a bit. And coffee, fine, all good. Buy me a coffee, a couple bucks here if you want to support. If you get any value from these broadcasts, from the YouTube shorts, from the long form videos, or the podcast, or anything along those lines, you can. That is the site to go to, buymeacoffee.com/Stephen's Language Vlog. All right. So today, being the National Day of China, October 1st, again, 1949, was when New China was established under the tutelage, under the guidance of Mao Zedong. And was Zhou Enlai as also around back then? I'm guessing so. He was a big figure, especially towards the transition from Mao, well, the death of Mao, into Deng Xiaoping as well. I'm not going to get into too much of the history behind it. And today, actually, of all things, I want to take a look at the CCTV website, which is how is this? China Central Television, or is it closed circuit television? Or is it Communist China Television? Or is it, I have no idea. I mean, I think it's a Chinese, I just said it, didn't I? Chinese, whatever, CCTV. Closed, no, I'm thinking it's closed caption TV, and it's not that at all. Oh, way to go, Stephen, to psych yourself out while you are broadcasting. I think this stream is doing okay. We do, let me just check if this thing is actually, oh yeah, we have full usage of my bandwidth at the time. That's proper good. I hope that it's coming in loud and clear. I think it is. Let me just check this, because I want to make sure. I'm going to turn this down so I don't get too much or any feedback. I'm going to mute that. Where are you? I have the autoplay is on, live is on. I can watch me present, and if the feed drops, I will know when to reconnect. Oh, look, wow, yeah, there's a little bit of a dip in the broadcast. I'm watching. So I have sometimes these live streams cut out, and I didn't realize. Sometimes I don't see it, like because I'm not watching myself at the same time. I only see what YouTube is publishing, and then I realized actually it's better for me to also have a stream, watching the stream as well. It'd probably be ideal on another device, but this way it's all sort of packed together right in front of me. And if the live stream drops out, it's difficult for if I'm not watching what's happening, then it can be a little bit odd. It's like, what? Why does he keep on talking when the live stream isn't working at all? That's a very good question. All right. So today, National Day, China, 75 years, new China. October 1st, 1949 was when the country as we know it was established. And they sometimes have special occasions, special parades that go on. This year they didn't. No fighter jets, no airplanes, no nothings. It was literally just blue skies and quietness. This morning they did release a bunch of, I guess, balloons and birds. I'm not sure. I was not there. Every day in downtown, not downtown, by the Forbidden City. Well, where would the downtown be? Would downtown be Gugong, Forbidden City, or would downtown be CBD, where all the business buildings are and stuff like that? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to. I don't know which one. All that is to say, they have a Gugong, which is what Forbidden City is. I should actually let's see if I can put that in there. Gugong is what they call Forbidden City, and that is north of Tiananmen Chang. I think that's what. Chang. It's a different Chang, number 3. I think that's what it is. Tiananmen Chang, Tiananmen Square, and so those two places make up your central axis of Beijing. Every morning, according to sunrise, they raise the flag. And that means, hey, what if we went to a map of Beijing? Can we use Google? And we will take a look at the location of where these things are. So let's go in. And I know I'm not sharing just yet. It's because I got to get this all sort of set up. And then that way I can share the screen right quick soon. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There we are. Tiananmen. Good. All right. So we are going to share that now. Let's go. Entire screen. Pick the right one. Don't want you seeing too much that you can't see. Boom. There we go. All right. Live. Good. So this is downtown, or that's Beijing. There you go. That is the city that I'm living in at the moment. It's kind of funny sometimes to think that I live in Beijing, but it's funny for so many ways, so many reasons. Where is this? Ring Road 2. Road 2. So Beijing is kind of, it's all built around Tiananmen Square and Forbidden City, Google, which is I already put in the live chat, which you can follow along as we go. Now that is the center portion right there that I'm pointing at, Beijing Shi, that's Beijing City, and this little square here where you see there's a blue, and that's Shichahai Lake, and Tiananmen Square is right there. Then around that, they used to have city walls that encircled this entire area, but they knocked those out in the 1980s in order to make way for a highway. You can criticize it all you like. Xi'an, if you ever come to China and you go to Xi'an, which is in where the terracotta warriors are, they maintained their ancient city walls, or at least their old city walls, I should say, a couple hundred years ago. So that city kept them, whereas Beijing chose to get rid of them. There are parts of the former walls still in place, but not too many, notably at Tianmen, which is the southern portion of a massive district. What can we say? Can I zoom in? Zoom. So we'll take a look here. I just want to zoom in. I'll show you the rest of the ring roads very shortly. So the way that Beijing is sort of Zhangyanmen, that is the old gate to the walls that encircled inner Beijing. And from there, from Zhangyanmen down to Tianmen, this is a huge shopping district that you can walk down. Let me get this straight. Let me just Tiananmen Square. Yes, so I am right. So Zhangyanmen is the gate that leads in, or was part of the is the remainder portion of the walls that used to encircle Beijing, and then they moved down through Tiananmen. So this is a walking street, a very touristy area that a lot of Chinese people go to. It's very famous. You can buy a lot of local Beijing snacks there. It promotes itself as being authentically Beijing. Notably, the Beijing Dashalar or Dashalan district as well. It's a redone hutong that they've done primarily for the purpose of tourism. And then that shopping street ends over here at Jushikou. And that after that, I'm not sure if there's more. It's probably more residential buildings after that as well. So, and you can keep on going actually all the way to Temple of Heaven, Tiantan Gongyuan, and that would be your Temple of Heaven, which is the southern portion of the axis of Beijing. Yongdingmen. Have I ever been to Yongdingmen? No, I don't think we walked that far. We stop at the other place here. Yeah, so it's a long ways to walk. It's all walkable. You could walk all of this in a day. It's not too difficult, but we usually stop at this street right here, Jushikou, and then we go back home. Basically, after spending that much time, if you're wandering around Tiananmen Square and through Tiananmen, it's a decent walk throughout the day that you're ready to go home at that point. So that is central axis of Beijing. Again, we go Gugong. That's your Forbidden City. From there, you walk down, and so that is your central axis of the city. From there, so why that huge digression? That was a digression about this map of Beijing, where that is your. And you see the thing has dropped. Where can I go? Stop sharing. Share one more time. The second ring road is where the walls used to be, or at least some walls anyway. You're right. Okay, so this is, let me check my facts here. Why is this not going in? I'm saying that Yongdingmen, maybe Yongdingmen was the end of the gates, end of the walls. Ooh. How many walls did Beijing have? Yes, you are correct. If you're challenging my factual knowledge of Beijing, you are very right. Let's see. Can we also do? We'll open this new tab. I want to check one thing. Beijing city walls. I want to get this right. City fortifications. Were a series of walls. Okay. They were constructed early 14, demolished in 1965 with the second ring road. So that part I got correct. Now, where were they? Let's take a look at where they were. All right. Forbidden City, Tiananmen, down to Zhengyangmen. So that's the end. That's the end. That's over here would be Tiananmen, which is that shopping street that I just talked about. That's the inner city. So I guess that's the first sort of walls. That's your first protected area, and this would be another protected area. And these walls were all knocked out. Again, Zhengyangmen is the remaining sort of portion of those walls. And then I guess there was another set of walls that protected the so-called outer city, which ends at the temple of Hemen-Tiantan Gongyuan, and then Yongdingmen, which I said that we've never walked to. But again, you can walk that whole axis of Beijing. All of those walls are gone. So regardless of which ones I got correct, they're all gone now. Made way for subways and what would you call it? Highways as well. So with that, back to it. Feed doing? Are we still going? Testing, test. I think it is. But it's not sharing. Why? Right. You're not sharing my screen anymore. Okay, so we got to do that one more time. I see it as being shared. There we go. Okay, so that should work. All this about city walls. Second ring road. Third ring road. This one over here. Fourth ring road. And then the fifth. And there is, I guess, a sixth and a seventh as well. I don't think I've ever been on them. I'm not sure. Would this be the sixth or that be the sixth? This would be number 6, something like that. I have no idea. It's a massive sprawling city that they sort of say, I think the official population is somewhere around 23 million. Let's check Beijing. 22 million people. But if you were to include all of that area, so that 22 million, I think, is only within like the first sort of 5 ring roads, 5 ring roads. There are maybe 6 ring roads. Where is Tongzhou? Beiyuan, Songzhuang, Pingfangxiang. Where is Hujialou? I want to find Tongzhou. Tongzhou to Tongzhou. Dachenghui. No. Where is Tongzhou? Yanjiao. Yuqiu. No. How far is that? Xianghe. Okay. Because even that far, I think Xianghe is still considered to be part of Beijing. Doesn't really matter. 30 million people is the unofficial number I have heard that Beijing actually represents. The Hutongs. I can tell you a little bit about the Hutongs. What do you want to know about the Hutongs? Danny B is chiming in there in the live chat. I will get to the Hutongs Mashangla very quickly. So this is all of the 22 million is somewhere in there. 30 million is more like it because a lot of the people that work in here live out here in the far outskirts and everything, because the inner part of Beijing is bloody well expensive. When people hear how much I pay for rent, which is about $1,200 renminbi, $1,200 Canadian per month, if they're Chinese, they're like, "Oh my goodness, you must be rich." And I go, "No, no, I don't feel rich at all, to tell you the truth." It's one of these things where one of the reasons why I chose to live in the area that I did was because it was sort of easier to navigate and it's a nicer area. And one thing that has happened with Beijing is that as it's grown through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and then the 2000s residential boom, the buildings kind of stayed the same. Or, sorry, each decade had its own type of buildings, and some of them have been redone, some of them haven't. So my buildings were made in 2005. If you were to go to the buildings that were developed in the early 1990s, uh, they kind of look like drug dens. Like, it's just there's no other way to put it. Uh, it's like in the 1990s, those buildings, they don't have, like, they'll have a gate around the community, but that gate may or may not work. They may have 2 or 3 elevators, but only one works. Each building, the landing area has tons of phone numbers and graffiti all over it. Whereas in my building, you walk in, there is not one piece of graffiti anywhere. Like, they pay people to go scrub everything that gets, those, first of all, the people who would put the phone numbers or the stickers or the graffiti on there, they're screened before they even get into the compound. So it's a lot cleaner in that sense. The 1990s compounds don't have that same security to them, that same sort of division between people who would be doing those things, would be advertising those products and services. And it's not nothing fishy. It's not like it's bad products and services. It's just that they're unauthorized advertisements, I guess you could say. So those are from the 1990s. 1980s are usually the 6-story to 6.5-story buildings that don't have an elevator. And the reason they don't have an elevator is because, according to some building codes in Beijing, anything higher than 6 floors needed an elevator. So they all stopped at the 6th floor. Now you might be wondering, well, but Steve, you said 6.5. And yes, these developers didn't go to 7 floors. They went 6.5. They dug down and started the first floor, what you would call the first floor, down about 10 steps. Then they built first floor, second floor, third floor, fifth, and sixth. So they got around that a little bit in terms of the building codes, and that enabled them to basically have 7 floors, even though they call it 6.5, and it's zoned as a 6th-floor building. So those are the 1980s. Prior to the 1980s, I guess the ones from the 1970s were probably similar, and I'm not sure about the 1960s, how many of those buildings are still around. Before that, as Danny is asking here about the hutongs. So the hutongs, you would not see, there are no hutongs around me. All the hutongs, the Hutong district is within the second ring road of Beijing. And there are some over in Hujiaolo and other, like Fengtai, or Fengzhuang down here. Fengtai district runs around the southern portion of Beijing as well. But that's where you would see the hutongs, the vast majority of the hutongs. And you'll see these mostly. Now, okay, I have to qualify that. Although you will see the hutongs around the second ring road, within the second ring road, you'll also see the National Museum of China. There is like what do you call those? The mint, like the Chinese mint, or the Chinese central bank is there as well. Zhongshan is right beside, which is the political office. It's the Chinese White House, the Chinese Red House. It's the Chinese political office, government buildings, I guess. Gugong is the former official residence. Now it's Zhongshan, which is right beside Forbidden City as it stands right now. And so the hutongs are these little areas, these types of houses that sort of squirrel all the way, that are very densely packed together. Beijing downtown backpackers. Really? They still have is that still open? It's a 3-star hotel. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. Very much surprised if they were still there. Huh. Interesting. Didn't know. So these hutongs, where do we go? I've lost it. It's right there. In this area, one of the favorite bars that I used to go to was, where did you go? Dayue Pijiu. Dayue Pijiu would be Great Leap Brewing. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There's the drum tower. Beijing, where'd you go? Come on, should be here. Great. Not Dongcheng. Xinzhuang? No, it's not in India. It is not in India at all. Great Leap Brewing. Okay, is it this one? Yes. Yes. Okay, so this is Great Leap Brewing, which is in the Hutong. So if you ever come to Beijing, China, and people are like, hey, let's go to Great Leap Brewing, Dayue Pijiu. This is in the Hutongs. This is the one that they're talking about. I'm just going to zoom out here so you can see where it is. Wait a minute. No, not this one. Stephen, this is a travesty. How dare you mislead the people? This is the Dongcheng one. This is number 12. I want number 6. Bloody hell. Come on, Google Maps. Making my life difficult, even though it makes it so easy. Beijing Dayue Pijiu, Hutong district, Hutong version is somewhere in here, and it is the one that is within the Hutong district itself. So the Hutongs are all within this area. Can we do a... Can I do... Where is the map activity? Nope. Data, sidebar. Nope. I want the... Where is my... Can't change it to a satellite? Maybe I can't. Mafanla, tells you. Mafanla. No, I don't want ATMs. Oh, I don't know. Hutong. Well, you can kind of see how these are all sort of laid out here. Heizhima Hutong, Xiajing Hutong, Jianggu Lo Yuan Hutong, Jingyang Hutong, Maowar Hutong. Maowar Hutong is a very famous one. It sort of has a lot of shops along it and everything. So these areas, a lot of them you can't go within. So these Hutongs, you'll have these major roads here that you can follow, but most of these courtyards, so Hutong is the neighborhood, is the whole neighborhood. But then within each Hutong are a series of houses that you can see connected, or little dots here that are sort of, each of these would be partitioned. So it's not like you could walk from what's this? Luogu Lane, Luogu, over to Nanxiawazi. You could not walk between that. Pictures and everything, even though it might be a little bit odd. And I see it stopped going again. There we go. One more time. There we go. Well, so you can't walk within the Hutongs themselves. Like once you go into the compounds, if you're in a residential compound area, you wouldn't be able to walk east-west between the streets. You'd have to leave the Hutong residential compound out to the main street and then walk wherever you need to go. Now, with saying that, there are shops and cafes and galleries all along this way. So if you come to any part like a Heizhima Hutong or Hoyuan Ense Hutong, they would have little galleries or cafes or shops along these roads that would be facing the public that you could go into no problem at all. But as for going into the Hutongs themselves, they are residential compounds. They are residential areas. They don't have guards there. They're not sort of blockaded in that sense, but they are people's homes, and they would be kind of a little bit weirded out if you were walking around snapping pictures of them drying their laundry outside, which is what they do even in the winter. So those are the Hutongs. that very famous. And is it easy to get lost in them? Yes, you can. Very disorienting, if only because there's no real. How would you say? There's no. They are laid out in a sort of a logical order, but they are so they're you would a tall maybe a 6 foot person would be able to see the tops of them. I can't. I'm not that tall, but they go maybe they're about 10 feet tall, probably around there, and so you can't see over them, but you can see. It's not like the big scraper apartment buildings that I live in.